Golair, and welcome to the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, slicing into the GAA of the past, present and future. Join me, Jason Keelan, as we cut into the largest loaf of bread known to mankind.
Hello, Diegwich, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, guten tag and privyet to you all wherever you're listening in. What started as a message to 10 clubs has now expanded to more than 50 clubs globally from all continents. The journey through Loaf 2 GAA Global continues this week as we move on to our next destination in the GAA world. So come with me on the GAA journey of a lifetime and meet clubs from Canada to Argentina, South Africa to Gibraltar, Bermuda to the North Pole, New Zealand to Kuwait, Knoxville to Qatar, and literally everywhere in between. So grab the passports, grab the bags, it's time to go.
On Slice 39 I have the pleasure of chatting to author Seán O'Sullivan about his new and unique GAA book, The Player's Advice. This is sure to be a top seller in the coming months. Seán tells us about the inspiration for the book coming from the back of a physics class, having an insane number of GAA names involved, forewords by Mick Bohan and Marty, being one of the youngest authors with O'Brien Press, giving royalties to Self-Help Africa and the Alan Kearns projects, his own club Na Fianna in Dublin, his dad being his coach, and of course Seán takes on the quickfire round, where he picks a famous five of GAA greats. But before we hear about Seán's book, I want to bring you on a little journey to find out a tiny bit about Self-Help Africa and all the great work they do, and why buying the likes of Seán's book, The Player's Advice, is something very worthwhile, and to tell you a little bit about where these royalties from the book that you buy will go. Consult us. Africa, a continent that in the past, when I was at school, was seen by so many as a place of stereotypes. War, poverty, famine, death. Nothing good comes from Africa, and nobody in their right mind would go there. That was the way it was taught to us. The world was a different place back then. We didn't have the abilities of Twitter for instant information, whether it was true or false. We had Encyclopedia, which told us history that had been updated maybe a decade or two ago. And while notions of war and poverty and all those existed in Africa, it wasn't the start and the end of the continent. Fast forward from 6th class in 1999 to the 2010s. It's Croke Park. The stands are empty, but for the dugouts, and the pitch is littered with players. Half wearing a special blue Dublin jersey, half wearing a special Galway one. I'd managed to get an invite in, simply knowing someone, not from being a celebrity or a footballer, that's for sure. It was surreal. Pat Spillane in a Dublin jersey, Joe Brolly in a Galway one. You can see that picture on the Facebook page. Hector running around in a Galway jersey with Mead shorts. Des Bishop, Mick Galway, the Brogans, Bernard Dunn. The list of people I recognised was endless. Marty Morrissey in the stands commentating. I stood on the sideline for the second half acting as assistant to the Dublin coach, Ray Houghton, an Irish legend. It was insanity. A 40-man scrum on the canal end goals ended the game. But at the end of it all, I got a photo with a man who I recognised instantly. Alan Kearns, a Galway GAA star who had only recently become involved with Self-Help Africa himself. Alan has to date raised in excess of €5 million to help alleviate poverty and suffering in southern Africa. The Alan Kearns project builds schools, facilities, gives training, many of the things we take for granted here. Through teaming up with Self-Help Africa, Alan has helped boost the progress and development of some of the poorest areas of the beautiful Zambia. These projects are vital. Even something small helps, like buying Seán's book. I myself have seen it firsthand. In 2008, my now wife went to Uganda with Kalash Dewara Marino through the Rails programme to teach. One young man there aspired to be a teacher himself. Since then, my wife, her family, myself, friends and family have become invested in helping in whatever way possible. That young man's name is Elias. Today, he runs his own school, Uphill Junior, which he built, physically and otherwise, from scratch. He is training teachers in Fort Portal in Uganda. He could have fallen into the stereotypes of old, many still do, rarely through desire of course. But with some small help, he made a difference to himself and others. As a result, thousands will receive a chance at life through him. This month I hope to be shipping 2,000 school books, GAA balls, jerseys and helmets out to him, all donated by the teachers' GAA clubs and schools around the country. It's taken me more than 2,000 kilometres to drive to get them all, a pain in my back from carrying boxes, and an even bigger pain dealing with shipping. But how am I to complain? I've literally nothing to complain about. It's a tiny event in the grand scale of things, but that tiny push of effort can create a tsunami of hope. And that is what this book, The Player's Advice, can do. By buying it, it gives you something to read, while giving someone else less fortunate some hope. The book itself is quite incredible. Where in any other GAA book would you find people with more medals than hot dinners, more accolades than stars in the night sky, and some of the biggest household names in the GAA giving their honest thoughts on something that means so much to so many? So go on now and find The Player's Advice. Buy it. Who knows what life you could be changing? That's the advice for you. Seán, how's the form?
How are you?
How are you getting on?
Grand, yeah.
You're all, you went for that dress code instead of the appropriate one that I suggested, no?
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I decided to be neutral for this episode at least. We'll see how we go.
That's fair enough, yeah. You're very good for coming on. And The Player's Advice then, what's the inspiration behind it? Apparently came from the back of a classroom, is that correct?
Yeah, it started probably 2 or 3 weeks before my leaving cert in 2019. So it was a proper exams, like, so it was I just sort of thought, the thought came to me in the middle of the class, what next? Like, in 5 weeks time, school will be done, the exams will be done. Like, what can because I was studying 8 hours a day. Like, I was doing massive levels of studying for it. So it was, what could I put all this energy into? Like, so then the idea for something to do with GAA, because I was already coaching and playing. So something that I could bring into that, along with like work as well. So then a book, something like a book, what sort of books I could do, like, so, autobiography, something for coaches, then something for players came up. And then, no players are going to want to listen to me because, I'm not known. So the Player's Advice sort of came from that. If I could get inter-county players to give advice to younger players, to help them, improve and sort of be the best they can be.
And did you have when you were kind of at the back of the physics class, did you have a list of players that you were thinking, oh yeah, these are the ones I love, or did it just kind of grow as time went on?
Yeah, it was a mix. So I sort of brainstormed it by provinces. So, like, I thought, who could I get from Ulster, Connacht, Leinster. So, like, the Dubs, like, it was basically, I put down the Na Fianna lads because I figured, they'd be sound enough to do it. So, Johnny, Merch, these guys. And then, like, I wanted to get as many counties as I could to have, like, a bounce, all around. So I think it's 28 counties in the book, so I'm only missing 4. So it's close enough.
We won't worry about the 4 you're missing. So
yeah, no, we won't even mention them.
Yeah, we won't mention them. It's fine. Yeah. And out of the chats then that you had with the different players, did you find any similarities between the advice that was coming up, or did everyone have their own story to tell?
Yeah, it was good. Like, because there's some overlaps in the book, but I see that as sort of important.
Yeah.
If multiple high standard players are saying the same thing over and over, it must be the right thing. Like, then it's good. The contradictions in it, some players will say, stick to football or hurling because, you need to do that to excel at it. Then, for example, from Mayo, Sarah Rowe, she's saying play multiple, and, she's starring. Obviously, I think she's back in the Ireland squad now. It's signed for Shells recently, shiving in multiple sports.
Okay, yeah. And was there any player who gave you a bit of advice that you kind of went, that's, something I maybe wasn't expecting them to say?
Yeah, like, it was funny how so some of the I only interviewed a handful of the players in actuality, and most of the pieces, like, the players have written themselves, like.
Okay.
So like there's, they're all done. They're all, you have the books, so you can see they're all like done out differently. So some players, their pieces are bullet points. Others, they have like a little bit under each heading, and then others like have done open letters to, future stars or younger selves and that. Just on if any player sort of surprised me. Jizzy Ling, maybe his piece was interesting. His was about foraging, like, and
Yeah.
sort of
Something
vegetarian
sort of
as
totally
well.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
something very different, yeah. And the Na Fianna lads then were obviously very helpful to you then as well as you went along.
Yeah, they were. And then like I had the contacts in the club just through mutual friends. Like I got some of the players around, like, so they're all in the acknowledgements anyway.
Yeah, very good, yeah. And all of the proceeds of the book I know are going to self help Africa.
Yeah,
I
all
know Alan
royalties
Kearns,
now.
all the
So,
royalties, yeah.
yeah.
And Alan Kearns I know is involved in that. How did you come along the Self Help Africa road, or what inspired you there?
Yeah, I thought sort of because it was all within a month at the back of the physics class, I sort of had an idea, it'd be good to do it for a charity maybe as well, just as a nice bonus, like, so it's helping players and it's helping, a good cause as well. And then, one of the ones I had down on the list was Self Help Africa, so I decided to go for them because, Alan Kerr's tie with them sort of makes it a GAA charity,
Yeah. Is it amazing when you go, I know today up on Instagram and stuff, you had pictures in essence with your book on the shelf. Is it something you ever dreamt of when you were sitting at the back of that physics class?
Yeah, no, because that was another thing, down when it came to publishing, I have thought, will I go for self-publishing, and just try and do it that way, but now, like, seeing it on a shelf properly, like, it's great and mad,
Yeah, it's a bit mental, yeah. Is there a particular kind of audience you've aimed this at? Are you looking just to kind of hit the GA market, or would you think there's advice in there for any sports people?
Any sports people really, yeah, or anyone half interested in sport, like coaches, players, parents, I think anyone would benefit from reading it, like, but initially I had in mind sort of the age groups I coach, so I have the under 15s and under 13s in the club, because just like the way it's broken up in Dublin, I'm not sure if other counties have it, but there's like CCC1, which is under 8s to under 11s, and then CCC2, 12s to 16s, and that's sort of like CCC, so under 12 to under 16. I think at some point most players have like a switch in their mind.
Okay.
They get it themselves, and it's basically, I want to be better at my sport. I got it around 12, so initially it was that age only. Having read it myself now at 20, I think any player would benefit from it. Like,
yeah. And how does it feel to be one of O'Brien Press's youngest ever authors as well? That must be something you can tell people as you go along.
Yeah, it's nice to have on the CV anyway.
Yeah.
It's good.
How did I should ask actually when I think about how did the physics class go in the end?
I'm not sure. I don't really remember it. I don't remember anything else from it, but the exam went fine. I dropped to ordinary level on the day, so I think I got an 2 maybe, which was
nice. With something in common. I did the exact same thing. I walked into the physics exam, and said, "No, it's not for me. I'm swapping to ordinary level." Yeah, that's good. Yeah. How did it feel having a forewords in the book by Marty Morrissey and Mick Bohan? Like they're two big names in the country.
Yeah, because I wanted, like, the book's big enough that it's too big for just one forward, so I wanted 2, and then Mick to me would be the top. They'll kill me for saying this, but he'd be the top coach in the country, or manager or whatever. And then Marty is just the voice of the GAA. Well, for me anyway, I know Mihal. I sort of came to it slightly after Mihal's time, like, so to me Marty would be the number one voice.
Yes, and then on the back, like the people who've endorsed it already, you've got Tommy Walsh and then Breed Stack, Kieran Donaghy. I know you had a chat recently with Kieran Donaghy as well, didn't you, about
Yeah.
the book? How did that go?
Yeah, that was good. That was the interview for the book. So you can either listen to it now it's on my Instagram at Seán O'Sullivan. It's IGTV, and then it's also like just transcribed in the book.
Brilliant, yeah. And how did
I did.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I'll just name off. So I did the interviews I did over the phone now because their pieces are slightly longer. I did Brendan Cummins, Dermot O'Sullivan. So I'm not name dropping now, but
Well, you might as well. There's some impressive names, in fairness.
John Mulan, Oisin McConville, Kieran Donaghy, and Ger Brennan, I think, for all the phone calls.
Okay, Ger Brennan's out down the road. I thought he would have would have been an easy one to meet up with. Jet. What was it like talking to John Mulan?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was.
It was fun. Is it probably all imagine? Is it? As in, does he say "I loves me county" quite a lot, or?
Yeah, well, he's a good storyteller. Like, because in his section, I asked the question. Because everyone wants to play for their county, so I asked that question along with when was it? I think I can. I have a chance of playing for my county because.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just talked about the late 90s, like coming into it as a minor, and Tony Forrester, I think, is a competition he would have been playing underage.
Always nice to hear those kind of stories as well. And I have to ask, since I'm a Westmeath man, and you interviewed one of my heroes, Gary Connerton.
Gary, yeah.
What did you make of the chats with Gary?
Yeah, he was good. He wrote his own piece now, but he was very quick to come back to me, in fairness, because I based all the players I just texted from nowhere. Like, none of them would have known me prior to the book, like, in fairness. So no, Gary was very receptive.
He didn't mention any advice about wearing gloves or not wearing gloves when you're in goals, no?
No.
That's just probably one piece of advice to people, is don't wear gloves when you're in goals. It seems to be a running theme he does down here in Mullingar. So, and then yourself, you've been in Na Fianna since you were 6. How was you've coached as well, I believe, coaching teams at 16 years of age. So
so I started in transition year, just like the very end. So I took it's the current under 15, so they would have been under 11 at the time. So I've had them all the way up to now. And I started with the 13s this year, and whenever we came out of lockdown, whether it was maybe April.
And what about your own playing career then? How have you enjoyed your time with Na Fianna? Yeah,
it's been great. Most of my underage would have been under my dad now.
Okay.
So I had him from nursery up till under 16. Then I moved up to the A's, and then my dad stepped away at minor.
Did he always play it? Did he, or was he that kind of dad, or did he deliberately drop you just to make a point?
No, I was the star of the team, in fairness, so I was grand in that regard. I'm playing now with the 4th team because we have massive numbers in the club. Like, we have 6 adult men's teams, 5 ladies football teams, I think 5 hurling teams, and 3 or 4 camogie teams.
Okay. And what's the season going like for Na Fianna at the moment?
Who, our senior team or my own team?
Yeah, your own team at the moment, sorry, yeah.
Oh yeah, well no, we've sort of, our target at the start of the year was the league. So we lost the league final there a few weeks back after a penalty shootout, which was
no way.
Just a shocking way to decide a league final, in my opinion. We'd nearly have played it, the day after, as opposed to like we were leading in normal time, leading first half of extra time, end of extra time. They just kept, against Kevin's Killians, they just kept coming at us. Like,
yes, that's a horrible thing. And how are the seniors going at the moment then?
Yeah, they won, both senior teams, football and hurling, won their leagues. And our seniors lost yesterday by 3 or 4 points to Ballybowden in the championship. That was our second group game. They beat Whitehall in the first round, so now they have Raheny in 2 weeks' time, which you'd half expect them to come over. Like, yeah.
And what's your own?
As a fan, you'd expect them to come over.
As a fan, you would, yes. And what's your own position then? Whereabouts do you play?
Corner forward now at the minute.
Corner forward, okay.
Yeah.
We expect part 2 to the book down the line, where you get to put in your own advice into the corner forward section.
Yeah, hopefully. And it's not. I have my own advice in the conclusion for this book now. I think it ends nicely, it sort of bookends.
Yeah.
'Cause it's all the big names and then just me
Yeah.
at the end.
Oh, well, you never know. Big name now,
Yeah.
certainly, with your
I
own
know,
book as well.
Yeah.
And what's the dream would be to have this as a book been shown on TV, on the toy show, on the shelves in Eason's, Chris's number one?
Yeah, hopefully. Anywhere really. Like my sister was in Eason's there the other day, and of course she, takes the book from the sports section, puts it up above Richard Osman's at number one.
That's the way you
just
watch
to get a
it.
picture of it there.
Yeah, you want more people doing that for sure. Yeah. Do you think there's I know it's only days into the release of this one, but
Yeah.
do you think potentially could you see a number two coming out in some shape or form?
Yeah, maybe a volume. Like the good thing about a book like this is, you get different players. It's a completely different book, or you get this, some of the same players and different questions. It's a completely different book,
Did you have any other thoughts and scribbles in that physics class that you think you could turn into a book down the line of some sort?
Autobiographies was one, but
Okay.
I don't know. It depends how this goes. This book needs to do well in order to, have some credibility for someone to, or Fairness O'Brien's also have good. It's a sports stars series, which I might do one of them. They've done ones on Gooch and Cora, and I think Seán O'Sullivan as well.
Yes, there's a lot of good sports books out. I know O'Brien Press are very popular with them and very well known for them in the country as well. So, is there anything else people should know about the book now that it's on the shelves and we can officially actually go out and get it?
I think that's it. I mean, it's done out like a team as opposed to, under the heading. So, you pick up the contents and, to me, every name is about, to the average fan, I'd say it's every 2 or 3 names, like multiple All-Stars, All-Ireland winners, players of the year, they're all there.
Yeah, I really like, as you were saying, I really do like the way it's done out, that it's like the goalkeeper's advice, the midfielder's advice, the full forward's advice. So, would you encourage a full forward to read the goalkeeper's advice, or do you think they'll just skip on to their own section?
Yeah, I think reading it, you can read it any way you want, but I think you definitely pick something up from what are the goalkeepers thinking as a forward, and vice versa, of course.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I've got into a good chunk of it so far at the moment. I did obviously, jump straight to Gary Connerton's section. That's what I do. I probably will.
Poor John Heslin, he's there too.
Oh, I get to him. I haven't got up to the forwards yet. I'm still on the full back line reading at the moment. But I'll get to Hess eventually. He'll get there. So there's a couple of everyone who comes on, Sean. Usually they go with, there's a few kind of like quick fire questions as well, just their GAA ones as well, if you're interested in having a go.
Yeah, that's great.
Some of them now you can pass on if you don't want it. Some of the clubs around the world have passed on a few of them just because they were laughing too much, or they said they just didn't want to name a name out loud. But is there a club karaoke song or songs at Na Fianna?
I'm not sure. No, not really. No go-to song. No.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of events down through the years, music bingo and table quizzes where you sing a song and your table gets 10 extra points.
Okay, yeah, that's good. The toughest team that you've ever come up against? This is usually a long thinking one for a lot of people, especially around the world.
Probably Liffey Gales at Fela.
Okay.
It's very strong. Yeah, just very strong. Like they won, I don't think they lost a game all weekend. Like they're just straight from the off. Like they did the same in the league though, in fairness. So like we knew going into the day, because we were playing them first, so just try and keep this game as tight as we can, and then the other 2 games is where we have a chance of getting out. Like
Liffey Gales,
probably Liffey Gales at underage.
Yeah, it's up to add them to the list. They haven't come up before at all.
Yeah.
What is your best memory or memories that you've had with Na Fianna so far?
Probably I won a shield competition at under 15, so we did that. Or in fairness, this past year with the J8s
Yeah.
has been good. We're still on. Even though we lost the league final this year as a whole, like we've won 4 more games than we've lost. Like
That's good. Yeah, that's always a good sign. Would you be more of a short pass or drive it long kind of GA player? Or the third option, I suppose I should add in that some people have asked is I don't pass it at all.
Yeah, no, I do pass. Probably short pass at the minute. Just given, playing corner forward, it is a short pass, but it'd be nice if they drove it in long more.
Love it, yep. One of the famous 4, you can choose between hats, flags, scarves, or headbands.
Probably hats.
Hats. A true dub going in wearing a bucket hat, yeah.
Yeah.
What else have I got here? And then, the last one, it's always the trickiest one, but in your lifetime, who has been the greatest GA player that you've witnessed or seen on TV? Doesn't have to be someone in the book.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll give a few on this one now. So my dad's a Kerry man.
With a name like O'Sullivan, I expected some link. Yeah,
Declan O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Declan O'Sullivan would be one. Just skill, Gooch, unfortunately, I know I'm naming I'll get to the dubs now, but Gooch is in there as well.
Yeah.
Cluxton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll name 2 more. So Cluxton.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
And probably just for scoring prowess, Bernard Brogan.
You're creating a good 5-a-side team here anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you may as well give us one more to make it 5 then. Brogan, Cluxton, O'Sullivan, Gooch.
I'll go Fenton now, mate.
Okay, nice, yep. And then Na Fianna lads won't be upset with that, no?
I don't think they can have too many complaints.
That's fair enough, yep. And is there... No, the book is available, I should say, in Eason's and I presume a lot of other bookshops around Ireland, is it? Yeah,
so Dubray, Hodges Figgis, there's a couple of others, but Eason's would be the big one for the minute, and then as the sales improve, hopefully it'll be in more around. But
brilliant, yeah. The local bookshops will probably take it up then as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. Seán, that's been fantastic, and I wish you absolutely every success with the book and going forward. And who knows, it could be a Chris's #1 in the making. You never know. It's certainly well worth it by the bits I've read so far. And just to say to everyone, it's available. Eason's, Dubray, Hodge, Figgis, all big bookshops at the moment, and more than likely soon to be in the local one soon. And it's called The Player's Advice, and we'll put up a screenshot of it as well, just so people can see it. And congratulations on it, I suppose I should say. I don't know if, probably plenty of people have said that to you, but I didn't really say it to you. Congrats on creating something utterly amazing. I've written some school history books in the last couple of years, and I know that feeling when someone hands you the book that you've written and you're like, Jesus, I've actually written this. It's pretty special, yet. But Seán, thanks so much, and the very best of luck with it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, not at all. Coming up the next day on the Loaf of Bread GAA Global, we cut into our next slice.
Chip, we call him the Wizard. He actually came into the office. He's from Indianapolis, and he was wearing a hurling jersey. I'm like, what do you know about GAA? And it turns out that we had a club here in Seattle, the Seattle Gales, and I was probably in my 2nd year of having moved to Seattle. So honestly, didn't have many big friend group or anything like that. And as you know yourself, sport is competition and community and all that good stuff. So it was probably 27, 28, and just came out, started kicking a ball around, and whatever it is, 7-8 years later, I'm managing the men's football team. Playing a bit of hurling when I can, but mostly all about the round ball, the big ball.
On Slice 40 next, I chat to Eamon and find out all about Seattle Gales GAA as we celebrate the famous Thanksgiving Day this Thursday, November 25th. We chat all about the Emerald City, his introduction into the club and ending up as manager, being the largest club in the northwest of the USA, rivalries with a club in another country, that's Vancouver in Canada, and much, much more, including being in the home of the great music icons Nirvana. That's next Thursday, this Thanksgiving Day, as we continue the journey with 2 slices a week.
I'll see you at the arrivals hall, but until then, check out the various clubs on the Instagram page and see all the amazing work they do and some of the nicest GAA gear going. Find the podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter and on TikTok. Email loafofbreadpod@gmail.com or just simply hit the follow button and spread the word of the Loaf of Bread GAA pod across the globe. Slánigi.